So this video is for those of you that are struggling to be consistently productive with your music. If you're somebody that gets excited about music and then it's weeks or months before you go back to finish a track or to get started on new music, this is a video that can potentially get you out of that really bad habit you've developed and get you into a place where you're consistently being productive, making music every single day, okay? Let me give you a hypothetical option here, hypothetical question. If I said and asked you which one of these would be a better option, again, this is for those of you that are consistently or struggling to be consistent with your music, which is better, 5 minutes a day making music or an hour a day making music? Which one of those do you think would be a better choice for you to get started with right now? I can already tell you most of you got that wrong because I know a lot of you guys thought that 1 hour a day was the right option given those two options. That's actually not the right answer for you, especially if you've been struggling to even show up in front of your DAW every single day. The hidden assumption with that kind of a trick question is that is 5 minutes a day and an hour a day both equally as accessible for you? Are both of those just as easy to accomplish? No. 5 minutes a day, I don't know which one was 5 minutes, but 5 minutes a day is a lot more accessible and easy to accomplish and probably do with whatever you've got going on with your other life's obligations than an hour. An hour a day can be, for a lot of you guys, a big ask in terms of scheduling extra time, waking up early, having extra energy to devote to music. So we're going to just focus on 5 minutes a day. This is a video that's a part of a series I'm going to be calling Sync System, and it's basically designed and hopefully is going to get you from being inconsistent with your music, not being productive consistently, to working with production music libraries and consistently cranking out licensable music for them so that you can actually get your career rolling. That's the idea for these videos, okay? So let's talk about it. Why is 5 minutes a day better? Well, when we're starting to learn how to develop a new habit, and the habit that you want to develop is making music every single day, right? You want to create a way to incorporate this new habit into your life that's almost so easy to accomplish, it's like nearly impossible to fail at. So maybe even 5 minutes a day is too ambitious for some of you, and that's okay. What I shared recently with one of my 5-day challenges was the goal and the habit of every day just opening up your DAW and maybe hitting one note on your keyboard. That's it. Now you're thinking, Jesse, that is not a successful habit. I am not going to be any closer to making music every single day if literally all I have to do is open up my DAW, click a note on my keyboard and hit Control Q and be out of there. That's where you're dead wrong. You absolutely would be getting closer to being consistent with your music if you created a daily habit of doing just that. Now, if you want to stretch it to 5 minutes of just noodling around and playing with ideas and sampling, VSTs and sample libraries or something like that, great. God bless you. Do it. Do 5 minutes. But literally, you can keep it as short and small as opening up an application, hitting a note, and hitting quit, and then marking it down and saying, I did it today. We're not thinking about the fact that, yes, you're not going to be able to create a full track with that short of a time in your DAW. But that's not what our goal is with doing this. We are trying to create a daily habit, a new system of being productive. So you want to create this new habit so small and so achievable that it's basically impossible to fail at. Like literally, even as you're getting ready to go to bed and you're like, you know what, I haven't opened up my DAW. It'll literally take you 1 minute to go to your computer, open it up, hit a note, hit Control Q, and go back to bed. Consider yourself a winner. You can mark it down that you actually accomplished your goal that day, okay? Now, what's going to happen as time goes on is when you open up your DAW and hit a note, your brain often will go into a new mode. It's not going to just stay in its kind of lethargic, I don't feel like making music. Some days it will, and that's totally okay. But many days you're going to start noticing that just opening it up, sitting in front of your computer, in front of your studio, hitting a note, creativity and motivation starts to just kind of come out of you. You don't necessarily know why, but I think what it is that we have tied a lot of our experiences with, our DAWs with being productive. So a lot of times we shouldn't be waiting for us to feel like we're motivated to start making music. We should just put ourselves in a physical environment to make music and let the motivation and inspiration basically come to us. It's almost like we are sort of drawing it out by not waiting to feel different internally, but we are changing our external situation and environment and then allowing that to inform our minds and our creativity to get into the right zone, right? If that makes sense. So what we want want to do, though, is not just say, well, okay, at some point in the day, I'll open my DAW and close it. That's not going to result in creating a daily habit. A more effective way to do it is to tie this new habit you're going to achieve with an already established habit. So it literally could be, for a lot of you, just waking up. If you've got maybe 30 minutes, an hour before you go to work, or you can figure out how to wake up a little bit early, well, you wake up every single day. That's a habit that you've developed your entire life. Well, the minute you wake up, maybe this is where you can go, okay, let me just hop right in front of my DAW, open it up, hit my note. If I feel like making some music or programming something cool, I'll go for as long as it feels fun. If it's not fun anymore, hit quit, get out of there. And I did it. Now I can move on with the rest of my day. Otherwise, you might wake up and feel not motivated, excited at all, but still you've attached waking up to opening up your DAW. So you're going to feel weird if you wake up and not go open up your DAW. It's going to start to feel like just a part of you, a second habit, a second nature habit that just feels like that's how you start your day. Other things you can do. Maybe you're a coffee drinker like me. As you're hitting the button on the coffee maker to get that started, that's your cue of like, well, I do this every single day. That button means, boop, I go right into my studio session and, play around with some noises in my DAW waiting for my coffee to be done. So whatever it's going to be, taking a shower, hitting the alarm clock, doesn't matter. Something that you do every single day, you want to use that as your kind of trigger, like a cue. This is where I need to go do my music thing, okay? Now, here's also a really important tip for you guys. You need to reward yourself immediately after you complete the task, which could be just opening up the DAW, hitting Control Q. If that's all it is, still reward yourself. How do you reward yourself? Well, I'm not going to tell you how to reward yourself. You decide that. Maybe it's finally getting that cup of coffee that you've been craving. Maybe it's having some, social media time, some YouTube time, playing a video game, watching a show. I don't know, going for a bike ride, whatever makes you feel really happy and excited and joyful, or just as kind of like a guilty pleasure. It doesn't matter what it is. If it gives you a little bit of a dopamine hit and you just feel really like, ooh, this is fun, do that activity or that thing immediately after you make your music. Because what that's going to do is going to program your mind to associate that pleasurable reward with working in your DAW and creating music. And so you're actually going to start to look forward to this new habit of making music, because you've now tied it with this really pleasurable experience right afterwards. Yes, you kind of have to treat yourself like a dog, giving your dog a nice treat for having the behavior you want them to have. We are very similar to dogs in that way, that we can be programmed to have our behaviors changed based on the rewards that we're given immediately afterwards, okay? So when you do all of these things and you start to have these daily triggers and you open up your DAW and then you reward yourself, watch what happens, okay? Whatever you've been doing up until this point obviously hasn't been working. That's why you're still watching this video, right? So why not give this a shot? See if this system actually gets you closer to making music, every single day. I think what will happen if you keep with this and you consistently open up your DAW is you're going to start to see that your little 1 minute session, maybe growing into 5 minutes, maybe growing into 15 minutes, and maybe growing into 30, and eventually an hour or even longer, maybe 2 or 3 or 4, if you can afford to have that kind of time. That's what's going to just naturally happen the more that you consistently show up for this thing, okay? So we don't want to think about, well, I need to be able to, if I want to make music my full-time income, I have to be able to complete, 2 or 3 tracks every single week. And so I'm nowhere near that, so I have no chance of succeeding and blah, 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 blah. That's what amateurs do. Amateurs are looking at basically the top of the mountain and thinking that they need to sort of climb there immediately. And because they can't climb there right now, they feel like they have no shot. Amateurs also wait until they feel inspired to make music to get really productive. That's not what professionals do. I could not have afforded to have that kind of a mentality or that sort of a system to get to where I was with full-time income with sync licensing, especially with all the really cool placements that have been coming lately. No way. Professionals ensure that productivity is built in to their daily schedule, and they don't wait for inspiration and their muse to show up and to give them inspiration. You need to make sure that it's always there, or at least there as often as possible, by creating that daily habit of productivity and just showing up. Like I've said many times on this channel, 9/10 of the battle of success, of sync licensing, of being productive, of everything is just showing up. And some days you're going to feel on fire. You're going to have all the creativity in the world. You're going to have all of your energy just flowing through you. Other days it's going to be like pulling teeth. You can't get an idea out. Everything sucks and nothing is exciting. Nothing is getting you really motivated. That's okay. Those days need to be kind of baked into the cake. You're going to have to expect that some days are not going to be as productive as others. But just keep showing up, keep opening up that DAW, hit that note, hit Control Q, write it down, mark it on a calendar. I got it done. I'm still successfully building my new system, right? We're not developing a singular goal. We're developing a system that can last years, decades into the future. So that's the first video on the sync system. What did you think about this? Do you think this is going to be helpful? Are you going to give this a shot? And also, after you give it a shot, maybe if you can find this video again and let me know if it worked, I'd love to hear from you if this has actually made a difference. I've already heard from many of you guys that were struggling, that I gave this advice to in the previous 5-day challenge, that this actually has already made some significant changes in how you approach being productive. And just opening up that DAW, which sounds like ridiculously simple and stupid, and that wouldn't make any difference. It's these little tiny changes, there's like 1% changes you can make in your daily life that do start to stack up and compound and basically start to grow as the months and years go on. So give it a shot. You got nothing to lose. It's absolutely free to do it. And I hope this does get you closer to be more productive with your music. So stay tuned. We got some more videos in this series of sync system, and I hope they will get you closer to whatever your goals are in sync licensing.